Charlie is out today. He's not going to be able to make it, but I will take the reins. So we're going to start with dev updates. The first thing, of course, is hazards are now live, and we are pushing more and more functionality to hazards by the end of the week. The main piece of it was just getting the engine back up and running. We have some different mechanics that we're using now in terms of 8-hour broadcasts. So hazards are still calculated hourly, but they're now bundled and sent to the blockchain every 8 hours. This focuses the repair and reactivation process around those 8-hour marks, and this is better based on our balancing and research, because instead of requiring intention 24 hours, it sort of simplifies the processing and like how manageable it is for most players. So, and then soon we're going to introduce some automation features where players can allocate a certain amount of repair and medicine tokens to immediately reactivate their inventory if it gets damaged. And this will be a little bit better for those that are more of like a passive play style, but it will be more expensive than going and manually reactivating. So think of the hazard system now, it's only manually reactivation, basically like it's always been, but now it's on 8-hour intervals. We also changed the damage formula so that it's more correlated towards resistance. So the damage calculation has been updated to just be intensity minus resistance. So every hazard has an intensity from 0 to 100, and then every ownership card has a resistance value, and that's a percentage, so it's out of 100 as well. So in order to get the damage for an item, you just subtract the intensity minus the resistance. And the previous formula was intensity divided by 2. And so it didn't have anything to do with resistance. So we think that that's a good change because resistance is player driven and has more of a significant role in damage now. We are also introducing, I believe this is actually in now, hazard modifiers and chain reactions. So these increase the chances of certain hazards occurring based on previous events, and it adds another layer of realism and strategic planning. So for instance, contaminated water, if it occurs, then there's an increased chance of brittle airlines happening in the next hazard hour. Crop blight also will spread faster if it's already affecting the settlement. Viruses will also have an increased chance of happening if astronauts are sick. And then injuries will be more prevalent if screeching winds, dust storms, or viruses are in effect. And then mechanical failures will also be more prone to happening if static storms or dust storms are present. So basically think of these as relations between hazard types that model the probabilities of those things happening in real life. We've also updated intensity correlation to the hazard chance. So essentially, if the hazard has a high chance of happening, and this is typically if, like for instance, dust storms, if there's a really high temperature and high wind speed, then dust storms have a very high chance of happening. And what we'll do is we have only one RNG roll we do to determine the intensity. And then we take that number as the intensity. But if there's a low chance of a hazard happening, like a chance between 1 and 25%, for instance, we'll do 4 RNG rolls and take the lowest of the 4. And if it's 26 to 50%, we take 3 RNG rolls. If it's 51 to 75, we take 2 RNG rolls. And we basically just take the lowest intensity number. So that also correlates intensity with likelihood as well. So a little bit more logic there to tie it a little bit closer to reality. We're going to publish all these updates to a Medium article. We're just waiting to confirm expansion mission timing because we also have some expansion mission stuff in there. So yeah, hazards, that was a big update this week. Expansion missions UI is being tested. We're working on testing that internally today and tomorrow. And we feel confident that early next week we'll be able to launch hazards. There will be 12 hazards that go live, or not hazards, sorry, mission types. There will be 12 missions that go live next week. There will be 3 of each mission type, so 3 surplus missions, 3 innovation missions, 3 convoys, and 3 construction projects. And the Medium article will also detail the rewards in each of these initial 12 pools. So for surplus missions, we're going to have fuel plants, heavy mining vehicles, 3D printing robots, fuel generators, and inflatable labs in the pools. For convoys, there will be 3D printing robots, battery arrays, a new item type called the field laboratory, fuel plants, mega power reactors, scouting drones, and weather outposts. Innovations will have the ISA supply contracts, ISA oxygen supply contract as the innovation type, and then the base cards will be communication array, mechanical bay or medical bay, inflatable laboratory, and weather outpost. And then construction missions, basically construction missions, the way we're segmenting out the pools is the standard pool will have 250 NFTs in it, which is insane. And they will all be the same type as the ownership card that's being constructed. So in this case, the inflatable social hub is being constructed for the mission. So we'll have all inflatable social hub cards, base cards, being given away in the pools. So for instance, the standard pool will have 200 standard inflatable social hubs, 40 shadow, and 10 stainless steel. The ultimate pool will have 40 gold and 10 dark matter, and the legendary pool will have 20 solar flares and the 1 ownership card. So that's kind of how the prizes will be distributed. And again, we'll have a Medium article going out this week to have all this in writing so you guys can study it. And so yeah, that's hazards and expansions. Another big win this week is the core crafting logic has been implemented. So this is, the ability for you to upgrade your base cards to higher rarity cards. This has been obviously highly requested by you guys, so we're happy to report that the logic has been completed, and we are starting on the UI integration, which is essentially making the interface for it so that it can be added to the game. The odds that we're going with are 50% chance of critical success, which is upgrading your cards to 2 of the higher rarity, and then critical failure, which is burning all of the cards that you put into the craft. So, and then there will be a certain amount of Marcia cost per crafting action, and we won't be shipping batch crafting initially. It's just going to be single crafting recipes for the first version, but we'll try to get batch crafting in at a later time. But nonetheless, crafting will be available, and That should be ready in the next 2 weeks. So we're excited for that to be out there. We are just also doing a bunch of general site fixes, enhancements, etc. I'll go ahead and share a couple of them because I think they're really unique, really interesting, and quality of life things that will just make the game overall smoother, more interesting. So we have the leaderboards. We're going to be updating finally with some updated UI, so it'll just look better, look cleaner. We published the ownership like badges in the ownership list, and I think you guys noticed that. So that's good. So now you can see which owners hold which cards again, and also see what specialties they have and what levels they are. For the leaderboards, we're gonna simplify a few of them. We're gonna remove the unfound ownership card from the colony ownership leaderboard, for instance. And then we're adding a Marsha liquidity leaderboard, which we're going to be using for a Woofy airdrop. So we announced a partnership with the Wax team and the Woofy community. So that will be used in a Woofy airdrop. So we'll announce more specific details around that. But basically, if you're high on the liquidity leaderboard, you'll have higher rewards and airdrops for providing that liquidity. We also are going to go through all of the modals in the interface, specifically around adding, removing liquidity, swapping tokens, and transferring tokens. And we're going to update all of the little badges and things. Some of them still say colonize Mars. Some of them are duplicating wallet addresses. So basically just things like that we're going to be cleaning up. And then the next thing we're going to be working on for mission control is specialty levels. So we're going to add in 13 through 20 for all the specialty levels. We have a feature we want to implement, which is taking a weekly snapshot of active collection strength. And that would be used to determine input and output values for all the cards. And this is something that will also just help people manage their resource chain, because right now the resource inputs and outputs are adjusted based on real time. And so it's kind of confusing when, if hazards hit, all of your inputs and outputs change dynamically. And so we want to try out just keeping that stable for a week at a time so people can get used to the resource chain and see the direct impacts of hazards. And it's a little bit easier to comprehend there. So that one's going to be something we add in. We are also doing a couple updates to the navigation component. So let me go ahead and share my screen just to show you guys. So this is the navigation component that we're going to be using. You're going to have this button here, which when it's green, you can click it, sign a blockchain transaction, and get some Marsha. This is essentially just using your wallet to run the operator program, and you'll get some Marsha rewards from that. So you can do this, I believe, every 30 minutes now. So that's something that'll just give you a little bit of Marsha just for being present in the game, sort of like a check-in button. This is transaction limit. So every account will have a pretty high transaction limit per day, but this just makes sure that we're not getting any bots or malicious accounts that are spamming the operator program, since a lot of the game actions are using blockchain transactions. So once this is filled, you'll have to pay Marsha to increase your transaction limit. But most people won't hit this. And then this button is just for people that are new players. So basically, when you're a new player, you get a free-to-play wallet immediately on onboarding, and you don't have to sign up for it. So you get 30 days to use that wallet, and it gives you inventory that you can manage a resource chain, and it has the right stuff in it so that you can repair stuff, you can contribute to construction missions, etc. And you're actually earning real resources with this free-to-play account, but you only have 30 days to use it. And you can also connect your own wallet in those 30 days and extract the resources that you earn with the free-to-play account, which I think is actually pretty cool. So you can play for free, but if you spend some time in the game, you'll get some more resources and be able to extract those out. These three icons, this one will light up when you have new skills from specialties. This one will light up whenever you earn or buy a new innovation card. And then this one will light up when you have a new achievement to claim. And so you just will click on any of these and it will go straight to those pages. This is the Learning Center icon. So this will pop up when the Learning Center is live. And then profile, menu. This will go to the resource chain. And this is your specialty efficiency. So yeah, these are all like smaller things that we're adding in, but very important. Yeah, and then another thing that's pretty cool is we are going to update the resource chain chart with a new component that separates out Marsha to a sort of like an isolated chart over here. And the point of this is to show you how efficient your resource chain is. So the way it works is down here, you have an efficiency number. And this efficiency number is basically taking the maximum net Marsha you could earn if all of your slider settings were optimized, divided by your current net Marsha. And net Marsha is essentially taking your actual Marsha amount, which is this solid orange bar, and adding it to an amount of Marsha that you would basically be earning if you sold all of your net positive resources and bought in all of your net negative resources hourly. So basically, the idea, with the resource chain gameplay is you're producing resources and using those to either run your resource chain or to contribute to expansion missions. If you're purely running it for profit and just to make Marsha, then this will help you track, how close you are to the maximum amount of Marsha you could possibly get from your current inventory. So if you hover over the first bar, it will basically just show you you're producing this amount of Marsha hourly from your resource chain. If you hover over the second bar, it will show you hourly net production is the equivalent market value of X amount of Marsha, and it will change this number just to show you that addition. And then the dotted mark here is if you optimize all your slider settings, you'll get up to this theoretical max net Marsha amount. So if you optimize your slider settings all the way up to here, it would be 100% efficiency. And the efficiency will change color based on how close you are to that bar. So again, this is another quality of life thing that will help you guys track your resource chain and how effective it is based on your strategy. So some people just want to contribute to construction missions, for instance. You might have a less efficient resource chain, but it's optimized for construction. But that's fine. That's a totally valid strategy. Yeah, any questions on that? Ninja says LFG. Mew says, can Weather Outpost CS owner have bonus for forecast? Ooh, that's a cool idea. This data are supposed to come through here. Yeah. Yeah. One thing that we're thinking about is having an extended forecast for you either. I mean, we're trying to find more ways to utilize Marsha in the game. So like maybe there's a subscription you can do for Marsha for an extended forecast, weather forecast. But yeah, we'll think about that for the Weather Outpost. That would be cool to have the same thing for main resource, Marsha construction data, fuel, or any resource. Cool. Yeah. So basically, you're saying like having some segments of the chart for sort of net resource production. Same question for rocket owners as convoys. Mimu, can you actually explain yourself a little bit more? So can Weather Outpost collection strength owner have a bonus for forecast? Are you talking about getting paid a data bonus for the existence of forecast, or are you talking about having like maybe just help me understand what you mean. By the way, we are now number 34 most popular game in the world, according to DappRadar, which is amazing. So we're going to be moving up that list more, getting more visibility, and that's great for people coming in and seeing the game. Everyone goes to DappRadar and looks at what are the most popular games, where are they, and we will be on the first page. So that's fantastic for us. Good question. I can't spell. Will some of the surplus mission Marsha be burned? Yes. Let me look at the formula. Yeah, so right now we have 10% of the surplus mission Marsha getting burnt. Yeah, John, it's a big deal. Based on our operator program, we'll be on that first page. Since majority of forecasts for hazard are data gathered by Weather Outpost, owner of this item get a bonus on data production or Marsha production, or else providing the information in the same mechanism could apply for items. Okay. Interesting. It does make Weather Outpost pretty powerful. Okay, cool. Well, if you guys like it, we'll look at it. All right. So there's like tons more to talk about. So let's talk about more things. Well, I think the next thing for us to chat about quickly is an update on Martian Resident. Okay, so here is the latest build. And you can see right here, the astronauts walking up to building, their oxygen's getting added to their supply. And you can see the mini map. So I'll just pause it right here. This mini map is live. So it's showing your position of all the items on the map. And you can also see missions are live as well. So there's different buildings that need scanned. And so you can go in and it'll show you kind of what that looks like. So you can accept a mission. And now that mission's active, you can see on the map, it updates where that item is on the map, where you are. And you need, in order to do this mission, it's a scanning mission, it has the scanning icon on it. You need a drone. So it'll show you now how to complete the mission. So up top here, you just saw that the mission objectives came up. So the first thing you need to do is find a drone. So we're gonna go ahead and find a drone here. and you can see it crossed off the find a drone mission or like subtask. And now you need to fly to Inflatable Social Hub number 1. Raise your hand if you own Inflatable Social Hub number 1. And what's really cool about this interface is, I'm just gonna go right here. So these 4 corners of the drone, the first one is just like showing that the camera's on. The second one is showing what are you actually looking at with the drone. So if I were to move the drone here, it would actually change to whatever this item is. This is showing the distance the drone is from Inflatable Social Hub 1. And this is showing that you're too far away to scan it. So we're going to get closer. And now you can see the check for the task has been completed. You're now close enough to start scanning the social hub. So we're going to get in position and scanning social hub. You can see here the scanning progress is going, and now we're fully scanned. So now you just completed the mission. After this, you'll get a nice animation saying you completed it. You'll get a nice Marcia payout for completing that mission. And now you can pull the menu back up. And you can choose the next one. Yeah, we won't forget the Azure stuff. That all comes later. So basically now you're doing as many missions as you can, and there will be hundreds of these missions you can do. Your goal now is to make sure you don't run out of battery or you crash the drone. And we might put like a Marcia repair cost or a repair token cost for crashing drones. So now we're scanning this, and we completed that mission. So yeah, scanning is just one mission type, but the idea is that once things are scanned, it sends back a signal to mission control that the item was damaged, and then it becomes a task to repair that item. And that's where the vehicles and the astronauts come into play. So any questions on this so far? We are all citizens of the Martians camp. Yeah, seriously. The Martian owns everything. Yeah, John. So Residence it's going to start with a single player experience, but still connected to, right now the plan is to connect it to the mission control hazard system. And then another release, subsequent release, will allow people to join the same server together and go on missions together. So it will move towards a multiplayer immersive experience. The goal of this game is for people to, play it on console, on PC, with their friends for hours and go on different missions. The exploration missions will be, a lot longer, a lot more intense. And the scanning missions are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Repair missions are kind of in the middle. Janutes, you can race the drones. If you look at our website, I'll just go to it really quickly, you can kind of see. So this is what the drone racing looks like. So you'll have a course. With the the drones, and you'll be able to fly them around, as well as buggies and all that stuff. So racing buggies, quad bike, ropers, etc. Also wanted to show the other mechanic we're working on. So this is traversal. And you basically will need to go and find the panels on the buildings that need repair. So one of the things that you'll have to do is just kind of traverse over the different parts of the buildings and get to some areas around the settlement. So this is just demonstrating like basically traversing over ladders. We're going to be fixing the physics as well, so you can bounce it around and jump higher. But I think that there will be a little bit of platforming that we will explore as gameplay, because one of the cool parts of being on Mars is you can jump, 3 times higher. And so we're going to explore a little bit of that with, repairing, especially the larger structures, like where you might have a couple stories you need to traverse. So that'll be pretty fun. Martian's freaking out right now. Let me show you a little bit of like what those panels look like. So this is the astronaut going and, you can see here, you need to actually, you'll actually need to repair this particular item on the greenhouse in order to finish that repair mission. So it's a little bit of discovery, figuring out where to go to basically like find the repair and then doing the repair itself. So yeah, that's like we said before, the first loops of this game will be scanning and repairing. So that's basically where we're at with that gameplay. And okay, I want to also show where we're at with Outpost Surge. Boom. Okay. So the idea is that when you go to play.thriveonmars.com, you'll have, eventually it'll be 3 games, but we actually want to move Outpost Surge up in the timeline a bit and get this one out a little earlier. And the reason we're going to do that is I'll explain in a minute. But Outpost Surge is the turn-based strategy deck builder game that we've been talking about since last year. This is really meant to be more of a casual, fast-playing game, competitive game where you earn some Martia for strategically expanding an outpost with a much simpler resource chain. And eventually this will become a mobile experience. So something that you can play while you're in line for a coffee, while you're sitting on the train, while you're just hanging out. So it's something that is a little bit of a shorter attention span game, but it uses the same basic items that we've already created in Mission Control. And there's other overlaps between Mission Control and this game, which I can get into. But basically, you'll get here and you can choose, okay, I'm going to play Mission Control or I'm going to play Outpost Surge. When you press play the game, it will have you connect your wallet. And this game, so we are excited to announce that we're going to be launching Outpost Surge on a new chain. This chain is Berachain. So Berachain is an alt layer 1 that is built on the Cosmos network. And if you guys don't know what Berachain is, that's go look it up. But that's the chain that we're going to be launching Outpost Surge on. This is not a migration. This is simply a new launch of this game on that chain. This will expose us to Cosmos, and essentially, this is an up and coming, exciting chain. Proof of liquidity is sort of the mechanism. There will be a bridge for Marsha, and there will also be a bridge for certain, basically eventually you'll be able to craft some of your mission control base cards into surge cards, which are going to be these cards that are inside of the Outpost Surge game. So how does the game work? So this is basically the game board. So it's a hex-based grid, and what you do is you have, well, let me actually go, well, I'll explain it. So you have 20 cards that get loaded into the game out of a possible 50 card deck. And every turn, 5 cards get drawn from your draw pile. And this is a vastly simplified resource chain. So we only have 5 resources here: power, fuel, food, data, construction. And your goal is to expand far and prosper. And the game ends when all of your items on the board reach 0 health. And so you're trying to extract Marsha from the game in order to basically get the Marsha. And so you're every card has unique abilities. Some of them allow you to expand the territory that you are settling. Some of them allow you to produce resources. And then one of the unique components here is that every single turn a hazard hits. And this hazard will damage items on the board. It will reduce production. And so as the game goes on, the hazards get more powerful until they overwhelm the settlement and things go to 0. So it's a little bit of, think of this as an arcade style training exercise that astronauts would do to find the most efficient ways to produce resources based on random inventory that they get in their hand. So it's kind of more of a, it's a roguelike deck builder with a randomness element to it. The board will also have missions on it that will be convoys, construction missions, and exploration missions. And these 3 mission types will get you Marsha, but the only mission type that will actually allow you to extract Marsha is convoys. So you have to decide, okay, am I going to go for a construction mission and an exploration mission and bank a lot of Marsha? Or am I going to go for a convoy mission and extract that Marsha out of the game? So it's definitely going to be interesting to play test to get this one balanced, but we've already been designing it and building it, and it's going to be something we'd like to release sooner rather than later. Our goal is basically in the next 2 or 3 months, we should have a closed beta of this game out. And before that, we are going to launch our first collection on Berachain, which, if you guys don't know, Berachain has only has a test net. So their test net is the only thing that's live right now, but they will be launching a main net shortly. And our goal is to have a presence on that chain day one of their mainnet launch. And just to give you an idea of the engagement that their chain has, they've had over 3.5 million people completing Galaxy Quests on their testnet. I mean, primarily because people want to get the Bera token airdrop, but that's a significantly large amount of visibility for their chain. And we will be, basically one of the only, we'll be the only roguelike deck builder game on the chain day one. But it gives us a big opportunity to, launch to a new audience. And like I said, this game uses Marsha. All the games are connected by Marsha. So getting 3.5 million while it's exposed to Marsha is not a bad thing. The way that you will build a deck is essentially you'll start by getting you'll be able to purchase essentially surge card crates in our store for Marsha. Those will have a random number of surge cards in them, and you can unbox those, and then each deck has the possibility of 50 cards in it. There will be 5 that are guaranteed, which means that those 5 will always go into your game session. And then 15 will be drawn randomly from 45. So you can drag and drop your different cards into your guaranteed card section and basically create your own deck. Eventually, we'll have multiple decks with different tiers of rarities. We want to put upgrading cards, crafting cards, all of this stuff in. But for now, we're just starting with a single deck that you can build. And the closed beta will not be NFTs. It will just be everyone will get the same 50 cards and be able to play around with them. There might actually be fewer than 50, just so that we can all play test. So yeah, that's essentially the way that we're going to be starting the game. So the game will start with closed beta, and then what we're gonna do is probably next week we'll talk a little bit about how to qualify for the closed beta. But essentially, we have a specific NFT that will be a PFP that will be launched on Berachain as sort of our initial NFT launch. And this will be, we'll have allow lists for all the OGs here. We'll be releasing sort of the criteria for getting on that list to purchase one of these. But it's going to be, we're going to take care of the folks that have been helping, get us to where we're at and supporting the community. So, these will be basically a limited set of, really cool astronaut style PFPs that will be bear themed. And they're going to be super cool. So that will be what's launching first on Berachain, and then the game will come soon after. If you hold one of those NFTs, you'll get a bunch of perks. You'll get some airdrops from like surge cards, cosmetics, etc. And we also want to integrate that into the way that we're launching Marsha on the chain as well. So it'll be a really, really cool drop. So all this is happening pretty quickly, but the goal here is, timing of the launch of Berachain, the community of Berachain. It's a really good fit for this game. It's a fun you know, the culture of the community is pretty fun. A lot of memes, a lot of crypto native slants to things, and we think an arcade game will work really well. And we want people that already understand blockchain gaming and understand the nuances of it to go and try Mission Control as well, because it's a bit of a deep strategy game, and I think it will work really well for those people. So yeah, this will be a big, I think, move in that to get new people to come into the Thrive ecosystem. So New Year, basically what I just explained, how does Outpost Search help Mission Control? So Berachain has millions of people that are looking at their testnet and will be participating in their mainnet. And so this will be, the goal with this is we are bringing an exciting game experience to a brand new chain with a lot of people that are looking for use cases for Bear token. And so by getting them to get into the Thrive ecosystem, they will be trying out they'll be familiar with our ecosystem and be one step away from going and trying out Mission Control. And we're also going to do a lot of cross promotions between Mission Control and Outpost Search, and then eventually Martian Resident, which Martian Resident will be on a different chain. It's not going to go to Berachain first. It will most likely go to a chain like, we're looking at various chains. Solana's in the mix, and then Polygon's in the mix as well, and some chains like that. Some chains that have a bit more of a saturation of gaming and are looking for an RPG, really high quality gaming experience. But this will be an opportunity to get a lot of people visibility into the Thrive ecosystem. And then the other thing is all of the games share Marsha. So they're all using the same Marsha token. And so, we're looking to how to strengthen the Mars economy between the games and have more people interacting with the token, interacting with the ecosystem, and utilizing Marsha to purchase different in-game assets. So, that's another big reason to expand out our reach to a high growth network. Berachain has raised about 100, or they raised, I know that they've raised at least $42 million so far, and I believe they're raising more. And a portion of that will also be going to ecosystem support. So, and these are, Polychain Capital and various other VCs are involved in this. So, yeah, it's a well-funded chain, lots of growth. It's a great liquidity. Proof of liquidity is a really unique concept of consensus. So definitely check that out. And yeah, so over the next couple of weeks, we'll be working on doing some promotions there and getting visibility on that. So that's kind of all the updates we have. Anything else you guys want to ask or comment on? Let me read the comments here. Everybody stay calm. Can in-game Marsha be used in surplus missions? Yes. So we changed the contributions for all the expansion missions to in-game balances. How does output? Okay, I answered that. Surge at the border, good here, good there and here. Heard bad things about Solana actually working. Yeah. You know, Solana is a tricky one. I think it's a controversial chain right now, so we'll see if it makes sense for us to go to. I think they have a lot of people on the chain. Gaming is a focus of theirs, so yeah, it could be a good chain for us to go to, but we're kind of still figuring out what chain to launch Martian Resident on. All right, new year, here we go. Let's see. Great strategy going after crypto gamers on one side and students on the other. What do you say to voices that early ION investors are left behind? Yeah, so, like I said, Mission Control continues to be the hub of the Thrive game ecosystem. And, people that have been supporting Mission Control will have opportunities to, be basically founders of these various other games. So it's, there's various mechanics for us to use to do that. One of them is allow lists, giving people priority mint access to various items. Like I said, Marsha is also going to be used through these games. Over 3 billion Marsha has been distributed to players of Mission Control. That's a lot of Marsha. So these other games will not be getting that level of Marsha. So we're still working out the tokenomics and how to distribute them across games, but it's the majority of the tokens will flow through Mission Control. Sam Cam, rad quality of life updates, guys. Thanks. Can store credit be used in surplus missions? No. Store credit can only be used to buy stuff in the store. With these updates and everything working, we'll climb ranks quickly. Yeah. Are you still thinking of snapshotting people, providing liquidity, and rewarding them with in-game perks? Yeah, so that's the liquidity leaderboard that I talked about earlier in the AMA. So liquidity leaderboard will have different tiers, and one of the things we're working with the Wax team on is WFI distribution on liquidity leaderboard. So that will be one of the things, and then liquidity leaderboard will also be used for discounts in the store, and we're also looking at some other perks there. Marsha USDT leaderboard as well. So what we're gonna do is probably just look at the total Marsha provided as liquidity, because if it's Marsha Wax or Marsha USDT, it doesn't really matter. There's still a Marsha value associated with it. And so if we just add up the amount of Marsha you're adding as liquidity, then that will be sufficient for us to rank liquidity providers. And, the theory is that liquidity would be distributed between USDT and Marsha pairs pretty equally, because we're giving out the same amount of Marsha rewards for both. And right now I think the USDT pair has a higher APR. Yeah, John, I think it's important for us to have a bit more of a presence in the mobile environment. We're still going to be investing in mobile optimization for Mission Control, of course, and that's a quality of life enhancement, something that will allow you to manage things on the go. But yeah, Marsha and Outpost Surge will be designed from the beginning to become a mobile title. And quick play sessions for some Marsha, and there'll also be more of a competitive element, like PvP style competitive element to Outpost Surge eventually. Just need crate sales in mission control and we can get to burning. Yeah, our perfect Thrive day is like you get up in the morning, you check mission control, you make sure things are operational. You rebalance your resource chain. You put some net resources into expansion missions. You go about your day. You're playing Outpost Surge throughout the day, getting in some sessions, and then you get home. You text your friends. You say, "Hey, let's go play Martian Resident," and you spend a couple hours, trying to find life on Mars. Yeah, Manja has the right idea. All right, guys. Well, we've run over. Thanks for sticking with us for over an hour here. But lots to get through. There will be lots next week as well. So, yeah, the updates just keep coming. Like I said, expansion missions should go out early next week. And hazards are out already, so enjoy those as much as you can. And then, yeah, late next week we'll have some more updates on Berachain and some of the launch stuff we're going to do for with them. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.